We were in this great building. We all call it 56 West 45th, which is what it was, but that sort of became the name of the place. It was a building that had a lot of documentary film companies in it. And somebody told me there was this guy, Sean Cunningham, back in the building who was looking for somebody to sync up dailies. And so I went in, met him, and, kind of struck it off right away. And I got this minor job on a film Sean was doing with a filmmaker named Roger Murphy. And these two guys in this tiny office were making a kind of a pseudo-documentary that they had made up and shot it like a documentary, but everything about it was fabricated. And they had just done a reshoot. So I came in and sunk up the dailies, and we all kind of hit it off, and I ended up just being kept on. When he was offered the chance to do another film for these people that had financed the previous film, he came to me and said, you say you want to be a director. These guys up in Boston want a scary movie now for their theaters. He had contacts with a group of theater owners in Boston that actually funded their own second bills, So if they got a commercial film in and they needed something to run as a second bill with it, they would fund it themselves. He said, all you need to do is write something that they like. If they like it, you can direct it. In fact, you can cut it. I have a steam back. You and I will make it. And that was how we got to know each other and how we got to make the movie. Went off and wrote Last House on the Left. Had no idea whether they would like it, and they loved it. The place that was typing up the script was behind schedule delivering it to us, and Sean was like screaming at them and something. And then he came in and says, you know what, they're ready now. And I went over and I said, why is it taking so long? He says, because everybody that types a page passes it around to everybody else because everybody wants to see what the next page is in the script. And it was just one of those page turners. Not that it was great literature. I think it was just so compelling and riveting and awful. I mean, it's like you can't imagine you're reading what you're reading, and you cannot stop reading, I think, is how it affected people. And, translated to film, I think it has the same effect. It was very much of, to me, just a big adventure. I mean, I'd never shot a film before. I don't think I had done that much in Connecticut before. I mean, it was all just kind of new and fresh and wacky. The film was shot in Sean's backyard, in his mother's bedroom, in her swimming pool, in her kitchen, in his car, in his station wagon.
All in Westport, Connecticut, and the local environs as well as in New York City.
I think the interesting thing was, to me, I was blissfully unaware of anybody ever having any right to say anything about what we were doing in the room. Basically it was Sean and I had been making this film almost a year by that time, and suddenly Sean's saying there's these people, they want to make changes, and saying, well, fuck them, It's like, no, they have a legal right to make us do things. It's like, what? It was just, at the times, we're all growing our hair long and saying screw you to the government and everything else, and suddenly there's some phantom group off there in Hollywood. We were New Yorkers.
Many cuts of the film were made by local theater owners, and they would get the movie, look at it, and hate it and chop out stuff. And we different times, a few years after the film was released, we were trying to find just a regular cut of the movie, and we could never find one. It was always had stuff chopped out of it in different places.
And wasn't there a special editing room set up someplace that just tried to go through all the film cans with all these pieces of film in it and splice together one more intact version of the film, because everything came back always cut up by irate projectionists or religious groups or whatever. My feeling was, as an academic, and I did approach it in some ways academically, was that until you sort of disembowel a human and sort of see the messiness of the inside, you haven't come to the essence of the matter, which is the complete mortality and the kind of unglamorousness of our bodies exempt from our minds and spirit, And so I felt it was important to go to that level. When we cut for lunch, I remember that nobody said anything, and that for the first time all the joking was over, and we felt, well, I can't speak for other people, but I just sort of felt like, okay, we got to that place, and it's good we got to that place, but that's a horrible place, And that's always been something that I've juggled the rest of my career, places we went in Last House. I haven't gone again and don't really have a desire to go again. But somehow, for some reason at that time, I felt like it was necessary just to get to the guts of the matter. And we had done it. You know, you could feel it on the set. And there was kind of a somberness there. You know, you really felt the death of the character. And you felt not just the death of the victim, but you felt kind of the death of the killers. You know, you felt like they had lost whatever shred of innocence they had. There's several moments in the film afterwards where they change clothes, they wash, they put on suits and ties, and you could feel them desperately trying to forget that they had done what they had done. One of the reasons why this film is so powerful is that I can't define exactly what it was, and I still can't look at it. It's not a film I go back and say, I think I'll take Saturday afternoon and just watch that old film again. It's like, it is still an assaultive film. It is still a film that just is completely uncompromising and does not make you comfortable. Beyond that, I can't define it. All I know is that I did not have any restrictions on what I shot, except that what I wanted to impose, and I wanted to deal with something very, very nasty. You know, it was dealing with anti-personal violence and just how ugly it could be. And you know, you end up with films that's in many ways ugly, you know, and it's unjustified, except that those things exist, and you know, art is about things that exist. I think it touched many, many nerves. It broke many, many boundaries. It completely threw good taste and propriety and probably ethics and morality out the window.
To avoid fainting, keep repeating. It's only a movie. Only a movie. Only a movie. Only a movie. Only a movie.